Hello, hope everyone's doing well. Thought I'd just give a couple of little updates of what I've been up to lately. The alternator saga is still sort of creeping on. As a little experiment, after a couple of suggestions from a couple of friends of mine, I replaced, there's a rubber bush at the top of the adjuster for the alternator. I've changed that. It's not made any difference, but I thought I'd change that because the rubber bush in it was completely shot to pieces. It's been like it for years, so I thought I'd change that, try again. It seems pretty settled. The only thing is it does still slip on initial startup. It's not, you don't hear it, it doesn't squeal or anything, but you can see it on the rev counter. But it's, you let it tick over for about 10 seconds or so, and then eventually it settles down and you can just drive normally. It doesn't seem to affect it. Been up to a couple of things lately. We had a garden show up at Nebworth a couple of weeks back, so I ran the trailer up there for it. That went well actually. I wanted to do a bit more recording than I did in the end. I just ran out of time, running around helping tidy up and put things away, and then by the time that was done it was time to come back home again. So got a little bit more time today. I'm running up to our, it's our last show of the year, the Kent Garden Show at Detling. So I'm just running up there now. We've tidied up. I'm just going up there to collect the trailer now. But circling back to the alternator for just another moment, I've been giving this some thought. When I first brought this lorry, it had a 30 amp alternator, and I don't ever recall it slipping on the 30 amp alternator. And then that alternator stopped working. It was nothing dramatic. It just stopped charging and stopped outputting any signal to the rev meter. So I went to Sparshats, or what was Sparshats, and off my chassis number they gave me the 35 amp, which works. But like I say, I've got this weird thing about the belt slipping ever so slightly on startup. But something a friend of mine who's got an 1838, when I was talking to him about it, something he pointed out is his alternator is a 55 amp, and he looked up my chassis number and he said I'm meant to have a 55 amp hour alternator as well. And in all fairness, I'm a geek, so I collect all this lot. In all fairness, even in the actual official brochure for the 1838, 1831 and 1834, under electrical system, it does actually say alternator 55 amp. So I'm not too sure how or why this lorry ended up with a smaller alternator. So I'm sort of at a bit of an impasse at the minute, because I have got a 30 amp alternator that I could put on if I wanted to, and just see if that makes the problem go away. But then I'm also in the mindset of, should I get a 55 amp alternator like it should have had at the factory? Could that be part of the reason? I'm not too sure. I know the old NGs, according to the brochures that I've got for those, they were only a 27 amp alternator, so they're only little. So yes, that's where I'm at the moment. I will circle back to the alternator. But just for the moment, I'm going to run up, pick up this trailer. I'm also going to try something slightly different. I brought a bracket. I'll show you the bracket. I brought a bracket so I can put this camera on the outside. I've actually had it for a few months now, but I've never actually got around to trying it. So I'm going to try putting the camera on that and see what it looks like going up the road. But yes, that's where we're at the moment. Going to start her up, get up to Detling, and then run back to the trailer, and hopefully that'll be about it. Yeah, so that is slipping again now. Only a tiny little bit, barely notice it, but eventually what'll happen, that will pick up. But I don't know, maybe I'm making too much of it. But so back here I've got, please forgive the mess, I have got a couple of spare. That's the one that I did get from Sparshats, it's still good, and that is one that I hate to admit it, I brought off eBay, but it's the right part number for what originally came off of this. But yeah, like I say, please forgive the mess. It's it's not the worst it could be, but it could be better.